Welcome back, friends. Now, in another episode of Telling It Like It Is, I like to think, whether you like it or not, I am diving into the cesspool of mainstream media sanctimony where the truth goes to die, basically, and the latest outrage comes courtesy of Camilla Tominey, the Telegraph's darling of the chattering classes and GB News hostess, who's decided to sling mud at Tommy Robinson by calling him a white supremacist. Yes, you heard that right, a white supremacist, because apparently, in the world of posh journalism, pointing out uncomfortable facts about grooming gangs or two-tier policing makes you the love child of Adolf Hitler and the Ku Klux Klan bedsheet. So buckle up, because we're about to unpack this utter nonsense. Now, let's get one thing straight. Tommy Robinson, love him or hate him, he's a bit of a lightning rod, isn't he? And he's not exactly sipping tea with the Archbishop of Canterbury, but a white supremacist? Come on. That's lazier than a council worker on a bank holiday. It's the kind of label you slap on someone when you've run out of arguments and your editor's screaming for a headline that'll get clicks from the Islington wine bar crowd. And it's not just lazy, it's malicious. It's a deliberate attempt to shut down debates by painting a man as a monster, and it's straight out of the establishment playbook: smear, silence and repeat. And let's look at the facts, shall we? Tommy Robinson has spent years banging on about grooming gangs, mostly Pakistani Muslim men, exploiting vulnerable British girls in towns like Luton, Rochdale, Rotherham and Oldham. Now, these aren't conspiracy theories. These are court-documented cases, thousands of victims, decades of abuse, swept under the rug by authorities too spineless to act. Tommy's been out there shouting from the rooftops, and let's face it, he was ahead of his time on this, while the likes of Camilla Tominey sip lattes and pretend it's all a figment of his far-right imagination. And now, because he's dared to defy the narrative, he spent months in solitary confinement, segregation for his own safety, apparently, at HMP Wood Hill. 18 months, or something like that, wasn't it? Cut down. So he agreed to remove that video. And that wasn't for racism, by the way. That wasn't for white supremacy or anything like that, but for showing a film that the powers that be didn't like. Simple. And where's this white supremacist label come from anyway? Camilla's been peddling it in a Daily Telegraph podcast where she's gone to Luton in search of the real Tommy Robinson, if you can believe that, as if he's some mythical beast hiding in a council estate. She's trotted out the usual tropes, hasn't she? Far-right EDL co-founder, divisive figure. The EDL have been gone for over 10 years, by the way. But white supremacist, that's a stretch even for a journalist who's made a career out of cozying up to the establishment. It's not just her, mind you. The entire media circus, BBC, Guardian, LBC, the lot, Channel 4 News even, they love to tar Tommy with the same brush. And why? Well, it's because it's easier to call him bigger than to admit he's been right about the grooming gangs, about the failures of multiculturalism, about the two-tier justice system that lets rioters walk free while locking him up for tweeting. And let's talk about that justice system for a moment. Tommy was in solitary because apparently he was too dangerous to mingle with the general prison population. Funny, isn't it? The same system that lets convicted rapists out early to make room for hate speech offenders seemed awfully keen to keep Tommy in an oubliette. Meanwhile, Camilla's out there clutching her pearls, telling us he's a threat to society. A threat to whom exactly? The victims of grooming gangs who've been ignored for decades, the working class communities who've seen their towns transformed while being told to shut up and like it? Or maybe the real threat is to Camilla's cosy worldview, where pointing out inconvenient truths gets you labelled a supremacist faster than you can say free speech. Now, don't get me wrong, Tommy may be many things, but a white supremacist? That's not just a lie, it's a weapon. It's designed to make you think he's out there burning crosses and chanting for racial purity, when, in reality, he's been banging on about cultural issues, specifically the kind of cultural issues that leave young girls traumatised and communities fractured. And if Camilla had any guts, she'd debate him head-on, not sling insults from the safety of a GB News studio where he's banned from, or her Telegraph column. But that would require actual journalism, wouldn't it? And we all know that's in short supply these days. And the irony is, Camilla Tominey isn't alone. The entire media elite, Reform UK included, by the way, with their "we want nothing to do with that lot" nonsense, have made Tommy the bogeyman to avoid dealing with the mess they've helped create. Nigel Farage, Richard Tice, they'll all throw Tommy under the bus faster than you can say electoral success, all while pretending they're the voice of the people. And Camilla's right there with them, churning out hit pieces that do more to silence dissent than to uncover the truth. So the next time Camilla Tominey calls Tommy Robinson a white supremacist, she needs to bring receipts, not innuendo, not guilt by association, not recycled talking points from the BBC-style guide. Show us the evidence, and there isn't any, by the way, because right now, all she's doing is slandering a man who is paying a heavier price for speaking out than she'll ever pay for her cushy columns. And there we go. That's it for now. Stay free, stay sceptical, and don't let the media tell you what to think. That's including the new media, if you know what I'm talking about. And I'll catch you at my next video. Roger Trout.